Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and first of all I just want to say thank you so much to the person that actually commissioned this wand. They've commissioned several others as well, so thank you so much for that. And here you can see I'm on my wood turning lathe. It's actually a piece of hickory this time. I normally work with ash, but I just wanted to try hickory because I know it's a bit of a stronger, more resilient piece of wood, and it would sort of accept the carving really well on the handle itself. So with this, what I'm actually doing is just working the wand itself down the shaft to what will actually be in the end the finished size. So I'm going back and forward with different grits of sandpaper, just trying to get it perfectly smooth all the way, and then leaving sort of more than enough wood on the handle to carve the spirals after this. With the sandpaper itself, I'm actually using, to really sort of gouge the wood down and get it to the right size, I'm using a really aggressive 60 grit sanding disc there, and then working back into it with 120, 240 and then 320 sandpaper. Once the wand was actually down to a lovely smooth finish, I then cut off using my bandsaw the front and back, and then worked into it using reference pictures and a scale drawing that I've done on a piece of transfer paper, basically trying to get the size right there, which was very tricky. And then once I had it right, which is very, very difficult because with Neville's wand, the spiral itself isn't even. Each one of the 3 twists that makes the spiral is actually a different thickness when you look at the reference pictures of the original wand. So very, very hard to get it to be right. And then I worked into it with different Dremel tools, so a routing bit to originally sort of carve out the lines, then went in with different size sanding drums to really eat back down into the wood, and I had to do this several times, several passes, using the drums and the actual engraving tools to get it deep enough to really eat the spiral out, just to sort of make it really, really gnarly, really sort of deep spirals. I tell you, with this wand, spirals are difficult. They are properly hard to do, especially one like this where it's not actually an even spiral, where the 3 twists in it are different sizes. It starts to get to you, and you look away from the wand and you start to see spirals in your vision everywhere and wake up screaming spiral. And but yeah, it's very, very hard to work out, but it's good fun, but a nice challenge, but very, very tricky. Here you can see after several passes it's really started to eat the shape into the wand, into the wood, so that's why I had to, on the lathe, leave enough wood in the handle, leave it basically a huge chunk to have enough to turn into that. So there's a lot of wastage, there's lots of lots and lots of sanding and cutting, but it's just leaving enough wood to make that big thick spiral that's on Neville's wand. Once I'd sanded the wand to shape using the actual Dremel tool or rotary tool sanding drums, then to smooth it all out, use different size diamond bits, so it's a much finer grit that you can really work into the actual wood itself, and it smooths all the little burrs out. It doesn't smooth it quite as much as sandpaper, so you still need to, after, as you see in a minute, go back in with different grits of sandpaper to smooth it out, but it helps you get down to a much smoother surface. Then, as I said before, you see here I'm just using 120 grit sandpaper, and then I go down to 240 and then 320 just to really smooth out the wand. And then it's just measuring the wand to size and then sanding the end, and then trying to get the end to a nice smooth, it's almost like, it's like a rounded flat end sort of thing, which a lot of the wands seem to be. Then, using Daler & Rowney System 3 acrylic paints, this is burnt umber, I then go over just the handle part of the wand in burnt umber, and here you see in the video that I do 1 coat, but technically I went over in 3 coats. I have made several ones in the past using different varnishes that are actually a coloured varnish, but I find that with the acrylic paints you can have a much more of a control over the colour of the wand, whereas with the varnish it seems to go from light to dark in several places you don't want it to, and once it's on there you can't get it off. You've ruined the wand if it goes wrong. So with this, using acrylic paints is a much more manageable process, and then you can go over the top of that then if you want to in clear sort of wood varnish. For the shaft of the wand, I didn't want it to be an actual thick paint colour like the handle, the sort of brown on the handle. So here I thinned down using water some raw sienna acrylic paint and just washed it on several times, just making it almost like a wood dye rather than actually a varnish or a paint. And then just to give it a bit more depth and not just look very cartoony, like a single colour, I went over it in a weathering ink that sort of brings out the grain and makes it look a lot more aged and like a real piece of wood. Even though it is wood, sometimes the paint makes it look a little bit cartoony, so I just wanted to go over with that just to bring the grain back, really. The last process in the wand is then to go over the entire surface of it with clear satin wood varnish. And this has to be, if you are doing this similar process, it has to be a varnish that's compatible with acrylic, because some varnishes are very nasty and they will eat away your lovely acrylic paint that you've just put on and spent ages doing. It'll eat it away, so you've got to have a varnish that is compatible with it as well. I just want to say thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment and subscribe for more. Thank you very much.